Well, hey there, LEGO fans. Happy Friday to you. It's a beautiful Friday. And you know what Fridays mean? It means full review Fridays. So I should say, hey there, LEGO fans, or maybe I should say, hey there, Nintendo fans, because today I am going to review a phenomenal set. It is none other than set 71374, the NES, or the Nintendo Entertainment System. I have so many fond memories of this wonderful, wonderful device. For those of you that are Zennials out there, or your Millennials, or your Gen Xers, your older Millennials at least, you'll know that this was a staple, right, in every 1980s gamer's house. And I was no different. I received the NES for a Christmas gift. I want to say the year was probably 1987, so it had already been out for a year or two by then. But I remember getting it for Christmas from Santa Claus. And not only did I get the NES, but I got 2 games in gold cartridges. And you should know, if I say gold cartridges, some of you already are like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Legend of Zelda, the original, and Adventures of Link, which is always funny to me to say because I always want to say Legend of Zelda 2, but it's kind of that weird second game, which is a whole different play experience. But I digress. I never got the NES, the bundle that had the gun. So you had Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers. I actually, like I say, Santa brought it standalone for me with the 2 Nintendo games. And I just remember falling in love with Legend of Zelda and just playing Link all the time. And then we went from there. We got Super Metroid, which was outstanding. And then the whole Castlevania series and Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Like, I could really talk Nintendo all day long. And so being a giant LEGO fan, it was so exciting to me. Here we are, middle of the pandemic, right? And LEGO releases an ultimate banger of a set, the Nintendo Entertainment System. And not only did they do the NES with controller, but they did an old school cathode ray TV too. Like, it just looks beautiful, right? This is the TV that was totally like in my basement. And it's amazing. So I am going to review this set today. I'm going to go over everything, give you what I think are the positives, the negatives, and then go over a final point system for you. And I always rate my sets on 4 main categories, and that is build experience, playability, displayability, and the overall value for the price. And this set is getting ready to retire, so price could fluctuate here in the next few months. So I'm just putting that out there. But with that, I just want to say thank you before we get started. Thank you if you're listening in on your favorite podcast platform. I appreciate you listening to me here on a beautiful Friday, or whether you are watching on the YouTube. You can always catch these as video podcasts. All you got to do is just go to YouTube and search for the Imagination Brick Shop, and you can find me wherever you find your shows. But anyway, with that, let's talk about this bad boy. Like I say, I'm giddy with excitement, right? We're going to get into this. Let me give you some specs first of this set. It was released August of 2020, and Rumorville, I think this is pretty much a confirmation, but it should be retiring here at the end of 2024. So if you want to get your hands on this set, please take note. You've got about a month. You got about a month left, maybe a little less. Like I say, whenever you're listening to this, couple weeks maybe, it's going to be end of 2024. And this set, like I say, I can almost guarantee that it's going to go up in price. I don't think it's going to skyrocket, but I definitely think it's going to go up in price. And it already did, and let me explain. This set, 2,646 pieces, retails for $270. Okay, and that rounds out to about 10.2 cents per piece. But note, when this came out back in 2020, it actually was on sale for $230. So this is one of those sets that post the 2022 price hikes that Lego put out, this was definitely affected. So it looks like it went up about $40 in that 2-year span. And once it retires, obviously on the resale market, it's definitely going to go up more. The dimensions of this set, the NES itself, it's about 8.5 inches wide. So it is slightly smaller than the real Nintendo Entertainment System. But as far as proportions go, the proportions are just about perfect. And the controller is just about perfect as far as like exact proportions for that controller. So it fits in the hand beautifully. And then if that wasn't enough, it actually came with a Super Mario Brothers game. And this game is obviously the proportions of that. It is a little smaller. It's definitely thinner, but it is really cool to have with it. We'll talk about how that works. But anyway, Nintendo came out in 1985, right? The US's version of the Famicom system that came out in 1983. And it was designed to look more like a stereo component, right? So the Famicom, if you know anything about the history of Nintendo, when the Famicom released, which is arguably might be a superior system to the NES, it was a top-loading system. And it felt very gamey, right? Like people didn't like, in America anyway, they didn't think that would sell as well because it just didn't look as refined. You know, if it was the 80s, people were doing those big, giant racks of stereo components, your receivers and your amplifiers and VCRs, which were huge at the time. And so when Nintendo was coming to the US market, they did a full revamp of the Famicom system. And the element of making it this blocky, gray system that you know and love today was done on purpose for sales to try and get people to think like it wasn't just a game system, right? It was an entertainment system. So games are just for kids, but this is for the whole family. Just fun little, how they sell a thing. But the Nintendo itself, obviously, if you've ever played an NES, you'll know that you've got the controller, which was very simple back in the day. It had your thumb pad as well as your start selects and your A, B red buttons. And on this controller, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, I'm going to be going back and forth and looking at this set and picking up things. So I'm holding the controller right now. And like I said, the proportions are great. The buttons are a little big comparatively speaking, but they are those big red buttons, right? And then it's got printed Nintendo and printed B and A button pads. Like it's really nice little printed pieces, and it just looks great. No select and no start. Oh, no, there is. Oh, I forgot. You can hardly see it because that printed piece is on a gray printed piece. And so I'm looking at this right now going, oh, I forgot. I thought I had it. And yeah, no, it definitely is a printed piece there too, which just makes it that much better. But yeah, so you had the control pad. I just totally said it on the mic. My bad. And then you had the game. I'm just going to go through everything, right? The game itself, Mario Brothers, because obviously, and can we talk about the sticker placement? Listen, I hate stickers, right? Like stickers are super, super annoying, but sometimes Lego gets it right. And in this case, this whole set has 3 stickers, and they're really well done, appropriately placed stickers. The game itself had a sticker that went on the cartridge, right? And so they match that, and they have 2 of the 3 stickers are for the Super Mario Brothers cartridge. And it's spot on. It's the exact image they use on the cartridge itself from way back in 1985, and it just looks fantastic. And then when we get to the actual NES itself, this is the fun part. You've got the playable features, which you always have to love. If you had an NES, you know that it actually popped up. The front part of it popped up. And on this, more printed Nintendo. It says Nintendo and the whole entertainment system. And then the cool part is you could actually stick the cartridge in the NES, and it's got a whole Technic gear system in it that you can actually pop the game down into the system like you did with the real system. It's just really, really great. It's a fun little technical build, and it's just a cool experience, not just to see it finish, but actually building it up and how they use, there's like these four little tire elements in the back, and that comes together to where you can actually, like I say, insert the cartridge and push it down into the system like you would load the real game. And then over, you've got an additional printed piece, which is the numbered for the pads, the controller pads themselves, marked 1 and 2, which is fantastic. The lid for it opens and closes. And then, if that wasn't all, you had the whole power button at the bottom as well with the, I can't even hardly read it because, like I say, it's that red on gray, which is realistic, but it always was a little hard to read. In addition to that, this is probably, if you're a 7-8-year-old or even just a 15 or 20-year-old building this set, you may not appreciate this part as much, but can I mention it's got the red and the yellow video and audio jacks. And not only are they appropriately placed and you have the red and yellow audio jacks, it also has the, what do they call that? The RF, I wrote it down because I always forget. Yeah, the RF controller, the little white part in the back, because you had to, back in the day, it came with a little converter thing that you actually plugged into the back, and you used that to plug into your TV, and then you had to go to channel 3 or channel 4, but usually for us it was always channel 3, and that's how you had to play your game. Unlike nowadays where everything just seems to work. This was like, you had to go through and you had to put out some effort to make this work. And then, not only that, because I'm going to just keep going with this bad boy, you have a little Easter egg on the side. So I actually, on the YouTube video, it's kind of hard to see, but I actually took off the side. And if you take off the side of the little NES, there's a beautiful Easter egg, y'all. Spoiler alert, but here you go. The end part of level 1-2 in Mario Brothers is laid out in micro scale version. And so it's just beautiful. You got the little platform and you got the, what do they call those? The bars that went up and down. I can't think of it. The platforms that moved up and down, and then you ran. You could either go into the pipe or you could jump up to the very top and then run over to the warp area, so you could warp up to World 4-1 real quick. They have that done in a little Lego Easter egg off to the side into the NES itself. So that is also amazing. And if that wasn't all, because I've only talked about the NES so far, you go above it, I'm going to talk to your ear off about the other thing, was the low-tech, I love this, the low-tech TV that comes with it. And this is its own build all in of itself. And it is a really, really cool build. It is old school 1980s style television done on a wooden stand, right? And this wooden stand is perfect, albeit a little wobbly, but the stand itself is amazing. You've got a low-tech, it says low-tech, that is its brand. You've got the old school channel changer part at the top of the TV. I don't know how to explain it, but the old school knobs that used to go up to like channel 13, it's got that. And it even has like the clicking part. When you turn it, it clicks like the old school TVs used to click. And I just think that's such a cool feature of it. Like, that's what it used to be. And so they inserted that into the TV itself, which is amazing. And then when you went to the back of the TV, you come to the third and final sticker. And can I tell you again, Lego likes to use stickers, and sometimes it's terrible how they use the stickers, but then sometimes it's just pure genius. And on the back of this TV is one of the best stickers I've ever seen. And it is the label for the television. Just like any television comes with all of the specs and all of the stuff that go along with that television model and serial number. That's there, and it's done perfectly. It has a just low-tech 1310 color TV receiver. It's got the model number. It's got a serial number. I think in here it actually has the year on it. Yeah, on the bottom of this sticker, here's a really cool little Easter egg. I believe it says July of 1983, and so that commemorates the release of the Nintendo Famicom. So not the NES, which came out a couple years later, but the Famicom that came out in Japan. And then as you work your way over, you got the audio and video jacks on there too. And then you got a big old antenna, because every TV had some big old antenna on it back in the day that you were constantly adjusting so you could get the best signal, so someone could watch the football game, or you could, watch your TV back in the day. Nothing was digital, right? All this analog greatness. And then last but certainly not least, and I am not going to display it on the YouTube page, but you can see on the screen, you have the actual level for Super Mario. And there is a crank on this TV, and it's laid out conveyor belt style. That's how you build it, and you turn the little crank on it, and Mario goes through an entire level. You've got printed Goombas, you've got printed coins, you have a printed Mario, which I think they consider as like a minifig, but it's basically flat Mario. You've got a printed pipe on it. It's just, and he goes through, and it just goes through perfectly. I just want to always do it. And the little Goombas and the little star piece on there, and he rolls through the whole thing. And like I say, it's done conveyor belt style, so you can hook it up to a motor if you want, and you could just play that level. Or you could actually, the Mario, there's a big Mario that came out with this, the 71360 Mario. It's the electronic Mario that has come out that has the digital screen on him. You can actually, if you buy that, you can set the Mario on this TV, and he will react to how Mario plays this level, which I think is another little beautiful nugget. It makes you definitely want to go buy the Mario so you can have that additional interactivity with it. And so when you bring all that together, it's just an incredible set. It's just really fun. And for a nostalgia nerd like me, a little Zennial like me who grew up with this, and this is one of the greatest Christmas presents I ever received in my life, like, it's a no-brainer that I was going to buy it. It's a beautiful set, albeit a little expensive now at $270 for just under 27 pieces, but at $230, it was definitely a better deal. So there you go. That's it. That's the description of it. Can you tell I enjoy this set for sure? So, but before I finish, like I said, I want to give you my rating and how I break this down. And I want to start with build experience. First off, this set comes with 2 manuals, which I love, because you have one manual that is completely devoted to building the NES itself, right? The console itself. Then you've got another manual that is completely devoted to building the television itself. And I will tell you, as far as the build experience, really great, really enjoyable. The only part for me that got a little tedious, and I think would get tedious for anybody, is when you are building the conveyor belt Mario level on the TV itself. Oh boy, that step takes a while. It's beautiful and amazing and colorful and fun to see it finished, but it's one of those things I don't think I'd ever want to build again, and that definitely took a while. So for build experience, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a diverse build. I would say the nerd in me loves this build because it's an accurate build. It looks like the system. You've got Easter eggs in there. When I put on a sticker that shows the specs of the television, I love that, but I can see how someone would be like, it's a TV, it's a gray box, so be it. So for build experience, I would say because of all of that, I'm trying to be fair here, I would say this is at a 7.0. And a 7 out of 10, it's not too shabby. Accuracy is a 10 out of 10, but build experience, like I say, definitely a little tedious in multiple areas, so I would say 7. Playability, obviously the biggest playability here is turning the crank to get your levels to keep going, right? And so for playability, I would say a 7.5, definitely a little jump up there. But besides like the conversations you really have with your friends are putting the cartridge in and out and turning that. This is really not meant to be a play set. It's meant to be a realistic set depicting a unique thing in time, right? So playability 7.5. Displayability, however, this is where it gets its highest marks. Displayability for me is a 9. This is a no-brainer. Lego did a really good job at being faithfully accurate to the set. You could argue, I don't know if you could improve on how it looks. This looks just like the NES. The proportions are perfect. The down to the heatsink element over on the side, or the angles of the dark gray slopes underneath it, they just get it all right. Like, it's just fabulous. You know, the cartridge itself is a little thin, but it doesn't take away from the experience. The TV, for displayability, to me, it makes sense to have it on the old school wooden stand. It just feels right. And so displayability, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 for sure. And then value, that gives us to our last thing. Value, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, and that's because I am getting the value on the current $270 price tag, which is a lot. That's 10.2 cents per piece. And definitely not a great value. That's a little expensive, but for a licensed set, it's pretty much in par. For $230, I would have probably given it an 8.5, but like I said, $270, I think 7.5 is more than fair. So if you're keeping track at home, that gives us a total overall score of a 7.8 out of 10. Listen, here's the deal. This set knows its market. Likewise with the Pac-Man arcade or the Atari 7800 that they released in Lego, there is a very distinct group of people that they are targeting with this set. And it's me. Shocker, right? It's an AFOL like me who grew up with this. Like, I wasn't honestly super interested in the Atari because that was the system before I got into it, right? That system was just too old for me. Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and then finally N64, that was my bread and butter. So I'm all over this set. I absolutely love it, love it, love it. I definitely think you should go out and get it. If you're, like I say, if you like gaming, if you like the history, the nostalgia, I highly recommend it. I think it's a great set, and I really, like I say, it's going to retire here any minute. In fact, it might, if I haven't looked online lately, but a lot of times, even if something retires at the end of the year, it's really hard to get your hands on. So it may be at the Lego store still, but it may be retired already online. So you're going to have to look for it. And if that's the case, look for it online on your resale markets, your Bricklinks, your Brick Owls, eBays, things like that. You probably, within the year, I would imagine the price is going to go up by at least 10, maybe 20%. So if you want to save some pennies and you love this kind of thing, I would go get your hands on it now. So anyway, but with that, like I say, I hope you enjoyed this one. I love this set so much. Some of the Mario sets out there are just incredible, like Bowser. I should definitely review Bowser. And this is really, for me, the one that started it and went, oh, maybe I should collect this theme, because who doesn't want an NES back in their system? So anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a absolutely wonderful Friday. It's a beautiful day, right? It's Friday. The weekend is right around the corner. So until Monday, when I come back with some news and rumors, I'll catch you on the next one.